present. I now call this virtual meeting to order. The time is 5:15 p.m.
At this time, I will call roll. When your name is called, please answer with here or present. Ramon Garza, President.
Present.
Jeff Miller, Vice President.
Here.
Adrian Stevens, Secretary.
Here.
Trustees, Wanda Heath Johnson.
Present.
Noe Esparza.
Present.
Norma Hernandez.
Present.
Herbert Alexander Sanchez.
Present.
Also joining us through video conference and respond with here or present are Sharonda Johnson, Executive Director for School and Community Relations.
Here.
Brishan Thompson, Coordinator for School and Community Relations. Anna Salinas, Administrative Assistant to the Superintendent's Office.
Here.
Sonia George, Chief Financial Officer, Deputy Superintendent for Operational Support.
Here.
Michelle Mickey Morris, Partner with Rogers Morris and Grover LLP.
Here.
Harold Sonny Fletcher III, Senior Director for Facility Planning and Construction.
Present.
Elizabeth Layler, Deputy Superintendent for Educational Support and School Administration.
Here.
Brian Clements, Executive Director for Security, Cybersecurity, Chief of Police, and Interim Director for Technology.
Present.
Elizabeth Valdez, Assistant to the Board of Trustees and Superintendent.
Here.
And various cabinet members, and I, Dr. John Moore, Superintendent of Schools, and I'm here. Staff members will practice social distancing as required and outlined. We will use masks, hand sanitizers, disinfectants as recommended. I will now turn this meeting over to Ramon Garza, Board President.
We have no citizen participation items today. We have no public comment items today.
I will now turn the floor over to Sonia George, Chief Financial Officer and Deputy Superintendent for Operational Support, who will present a budget workshop.
Good evening, everyone. So this is
Evening.
our second budget workshop as we are preparing for the 21-22 school year. We had our first budget workshop prior to the April meeting. And so tonight I'm going to give you an update of where we are at in the process and what new information has become available to us since our meeting earlier in April. So we'll also take a look at some updated compensation projections and then overall how that impacts the budget. So one new piece of information that we received was from Harris County Appraisal District. We received our certified estimated property values. These were received very late on April the 30th. And one of the areas that we were concerned about that we had been forewarned was that there was a possibility that we may have a slight decrease in our property values. However, as you can see, the almost $10.2 billion is just a slight increase of 0.2% over where we are currently valued at for 2020. So right now, looking forward to the 2021 tax year. It does not look like that we will experience much of a change. When Harris County Appraisal District releases these estimates, they always tell us that there's a plus or minus a 5% margin of error. However, the last couple of years, we've had pretty good success with basically what they've been projecting for us. Our values have been trending very close to those estimated amounts. So overall, this is good news for the district. Just as a reminder, this doesn't really impact the general fund revenue. What it does impact more is what we are able to do with our debt service and what type of tax rate we have to set on the debt service side. So again, this is just a reminder of where we were at. Our average daily attendance that was projected 2656. This is basically no change from where we are currently projected to end the 2021 school year. So there's just not a lot of difference in these numbers, especially since we didn't see much of a movement in the property values. One piece of information that we were hopeful that we would have at this point was, what do the insurance rates look like from TRS Active Care? That's the health insurance that our district employees participate in through the teacher retirement system. And they were set to approve rates at their April board meeting. And unfortunately, this did not occur. There was quite a lengthy presentation that was given to the teacher retirement system board regarding the status of the insurance plan, and just to some different factors. They did not feel comfortable proposing the rate, so that action has been delayed. We are told that we should expect that in early June. We're not expecting there to be very many structural changes to TRS Active Care, but we are hearing some rumors that we will be seeing some rate increases for our employees. But again, hopefully we will know a little bit more about that come the 1st of June, whenever they meet and finalize those rates. So on compensation, the first two options that you see here on this slide, those were previously presented at the April meeting. This is a 1% general pay increase for option 1. Option 2 represents a 2% general pay increase with a cost of $3.2 million. And what we've added here this time is option 3, which is an increase of $2,150 for all our teachers. It takes beginning pay to $60,850. And of course, the cost is a little more significant here, $5.5 million. The reason that we modeled the 3% was this is the trend that we've started to hear from some of our neighboring districts. You know, early in the planning sessions, when we were talking to districts that are here in the Region 4 area, we were hearing 0%, 1%, then there was a little bit more of a trend towards 2%, but now we've started to hear a little bit more about a 3%. And I'll share with you in just a moment why I think we're seeing this trend that started to increase upwards. We don't expect that there to be any additional money through the provisions of House Bill 3, but we have received some very good news regarding the ESSER money. And if you will call, that's the federal money that we have been waiting on Texas Education Agency basically to decide what's happening. I just want to mention here, when we look at these 3 models, that there is always the option, if the board so chooses at the June meeting, when we come back, hopefully to seek approval for a general pay increase, we could always have the option of using a 2% general pay increase with maybe incorporating a 1% or a one-time retention stipend in with those. And if we did that, you would see the price tag on an option like that would fall between your option 2 and 3. So probably roughly right around $4.7 million. So there's still some options that are available out there. This slide just shows you at this point what the option 1, 2, and 3 with those corresponding general pay increases, what would happen to our general fund and our projections. And of course, this ranges from the 1% is a roughly $4.3 million deficit with a 3% general pay increase would result in a roughly 8.1. Now, I want to just pause right here and say that these projections do not assume us using any of the ESSER 3 money at this point in time for any costs that we are tracking in the general fund. However, there will be some opportunities for us to look at this. This is the great news here. The Texas Education Agency and Governor Abbott finally announced a couple of weeks ago the release of ESSER 3, which is related to the American Rescue Plan. Galena Park I.S.D. actually is going to receive a share of $60 million. They have only released the first 2/3 of that amount to us. So you can see it here on this slide. It's just a little over $40 million. The period that it's in the form of a grant. This grant money would be available to the district. We could actually retro back and reclassify some cost from the last fiscal year, and the money goes all the way through the very beginning of the 23-24 school year. And again, it's a grant, and it's designed to help us safely reopen schools and to address the impact of COVID-19 on learning loss for students. There is a significant amount of stakeholder input that's required in the development of the spending plan. This goes across the district. It requires staff input, but it requires community input and various stakeholder input. So you will start seeing some meetings that will be occurring for us to work on a plan for how we spend this money. We have a grant application that is due to the TEA July 27th, so at the end of July. So we have really a short period of time to plan how we're going to spend $40 million over a roughly 4-year period. Just here, I just want to say that there's not a lot of requirements on the money at this time. We do have to spend 20% of this money to address learning loss, and as I said, it does requires a plan that has stakeholder input. Does not require board approval, but we do have to make the plan publicly available and post this on our district website. And we are required to implement public safety protocols so that we can have safe in-person learning. So just looking forward, you can see that now we have a lot to plan for, especially with this addition of the ESSER III money. And I believe that when we have our June meeting, and then definitely by the time we get to our budget workshop meeting number 4 in August, I think we'll have a much better feel for how the ESSER III money is going to impact our general fund budget and what we will be proposing to the board to adopt at that time. When we do have our workshop 3 meeting in June, we hope at that time that we will have our TRS active care rate information to share with the board. We also would look at that point in time at possible general pay increases. And typically at our June board meeting, we adopt our compensation plan. Again, in July is when our ESSER application is due. August is when we would propose to the board that we adopt a budget so that it's in place for the beginning of this September 1st fiscal year beginning. And then it would not be until October that we would come back to the board for the tax rate adoption at the October 12th board meeting. So does anybody have any questions at this point in time?
I have a couple of clarifying questions.
Sure.
The state grant, that's $40 million to Galena Park I.S.D. over a 4-year period?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then the application for that grant, has that already been submitted, or is that the one that's going to be submitted in July?
That's the one that has to be submitted in July. So we actually are just in the very beginning phases of working on developing the plan for spending the funds.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sonia,
Yes, ma'am.
will you go over again when you were talking about the different options, you know, the 1% to 2% and the 3%?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
when you mentioned the 2%, you said something about you could look at it a different way by having the 2% plus a stipend. Can you just briefly go over that again?
Sure. Yes. What I was saying here was that, you know, what we've modeled here basically is just a general pay increase, which is
right.
You know, what we've done at this time of the year. We've decided what general pay increase would we have in place for the employees. And, you know, the last couple of years, we've had a combination of one-time pays. We had the one-time retention stipend that we offered in the 1920 school year. And then, of course, this last year during 2021, we had the one-time payment that was related to COVID. And I've heard, again, I just wanted to mention it to the board because I'm hearing a combination, honestly. I'm hearing districts, it probably some of it is because we're seeing all this new money from ESSER 3 that some people are leaning toward the ideal of, well, what if we do the general pay increase like we traditionally do, but they like the benefit that it gives the employee with a one-time pay for the retention, plus, the retention aspect of that for the district. A couple of years ago when we did that in 1920, it had a retention provision that was attached to it. And so employees received the money, but if they terminated employment prior to the end of the year, they returned it. And really what I was saying here was, one option that the board could consider would be option 2 with the 2%, which would cost us about 3.2 million. But if you did a one-time pay in addition to the 2%, the price tag on that would come in about $4.7 million.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Got you.
Ms. George, I have a question. So if we do option 2 and a one-time payment, when would that one-time payment be? Is it going to be like during holiday time? Is it beginning of the year? What does that look like?
We could structure it a couple of different ways. I wouldn't recommend that you do it at the beginning of the year because it typically would be attached to retention. If you do it at a mid-year, then we do put the criteria on it that the employee must remain employed through usually the last day of instruction, and if not, then the money has to be returned to the district or it's withheld from their final paycheck. So probably the best alternative for a one-time retention would be either a mid-year or end of the year. And that would be end of school year.
Okay. And then my other question is, you mentioned that districts surrounding the area are talking or looking at a possible 3% increase. So,
yes.
I mean, wouldn't it benefit GPISD to do something along the lines? I mean, to help make sure we stay competitive with districts around us and we don't lose teachers?
Yes, definitely. And that is one of the concerns about a one-time pay is that when we do the one-time payment, it doesn't necessarily keep our salary structure, especially on our teacher pay. It does not keep us competitive with the area districts. So far, we've remained competitive with our beginning teacher pay. Obviously, our goal would be that we would want to maintain that, for recruitment purposes. So again, that's just one of the negatives that comes along with not putting the money all into general pay increases and dividing the money and doing a combination of a general pay increase and then a one-time pay. The other, it doesn't assist with, again, covering the ongoing cost in case we do incur an increase, which we do anticipate on the TRS active care on the insurance rates.
Thank you, Ms. George.
Okay.
Sonia, can you get us a comparative of where we're at compared to other districts for, I know not today, but if you can, maybe they can email it to us or something, see where we stand compared to other districts around us.
On the pay increase question?
Or no, on what we pay now and what they pay now, and then I guess
Competitive salaries.
What other, and then what are the other districts looking like they're gonna do? So if we already know that some are doing 3, then that would be beneficial to us if we already have that information. So
Sure.
We can be more knowledgeable of where we need to be at. I mean, I'm like with Noe, I don't want to be paying less that, somebody neighbor. I don't want to lose our good teachers, even though they leave and then they come back, but we don't even want them leaving.
Right, right. I agree. I agree. No, we can certainly do that. And so far what we're hearing from the area districts has been talk. So I think everybody's been reluctant to take action at this point in time on deciding what their compensation plans would look like for the upcoming year. But I feel like now that obviously as we get closer to the end of the legislative session, and we know what funding will look like definitely for next year, and you know, then the ESSER 3 money, again, that's going to be a big player into, I think, some of the decisions that we're going to see made with regards to compensation. And, you know, not everybody got, and the money was distributed according to, you know, the population that school districts serve. So Galena Park actually is very fortunate in the amount of money that we're receiving. So we're receiving a very generous portion of the ESSER funds.
Tanya, let me add, I've spoken, since you asked the question, Ramon, I've spoken to superintendents in several surrounding school districts. And almost every single one of them, with the exception of one, said 3%. One said 2%. And so I feel like 3% is probably a good round number that everybody around us is going to be using, just to give you a general idea, but we'll send you some specifics out in your weekly packet.
Yeah, no, that would be good. And I think, I mean, if we can have where we at now without any raises compared to other districts would be very, very helpful.
Okay, we will certainly compile that information and send it out.
Any other questions for Ms. George? Thank you, Ms. George.
Thank you, everyone.
I will now turn the floor over to Harold Sonny Fletcher III, Senior Director for Facility Planning and Construction, and Michelle Mickey Morris, partner with Rogers, Morris and Grover LLP, who will discuss the possible implementation of a small business enterprise program.
There we go. Good evening.
Good evening.
And let's get the slideshow. There we go. Real quick, last month in the workshop, we talked about a small business program, or an SBP program. Here outlined just the 5 general points of that small business program. So we're proposing that we apply it to contracts for construction or construction related design services. There's a whole lot more language there, but generally speaking, it would be to construction projects and then the architects and engineers on the front of those. And as part of this program, we're encouraging the architects, the engineers, and the contractors to make good faith efforts to utilize certified small businesses. Now that would be in terms of evaluation criteria of those, as you think, we talk about our competitive sealed proposals. So we'd be adding a small business portion to that. Of course, a small business program, as we discussed last month, is a race and gender neutral program. And then, so we have a way to measure folks in their participation, and I say folks, the small businesses, they'd be certified. And then there's all kinds of wonderful information there about how they're certified. We've talked to a couple, and yes, one of the architects is definitely certified. So that was good to know. We already start off there. And then reporting, what we were proposing is reporting the small business program commitment that contractor would make at the award. So you'll see on the agenda later tonight in the meeting where we're recommending in the consent agenda, we would list their percentage participation that they committed to at the award. And then at final payment, again, we're proposing that we would give you all that percentage that they've reported back to us. So you would see what they committed to and their actual good faith effort and what they, the participation they had. And then of course, our next steps would require update to policies, and we bring those, if it meets with your approval, to the August board meeting. Any questions?
Any questions for Sunny? No. Thank you, Sunny.
Thank you all.
I will now turn the floor over to Elizabeth Layler, Deputy Superintendent for Educational Support and School Administration, who will present an update of the CTE Early College High School program.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Good evening.
All right, so I was asked to go over our early college high school, and I'm excited to bring this news to you. So we started this about 6.5 years ago, 7 years ago is when we started the discussion. We've had 2 graduating classes. This year will be the 3rd graduating class. So a reminder to everyone, or new information for our new folks, what is an early college high school? It's a partnership that's laid out by law and rules with the Texas legislature between a school district and a college that allows us to provide students up to 60 college credit hours towards a degree or certification at no cost to the student. And it's supposed to target at-risk students. So it's very clear that their priority is to serve low-income young people, first-generation college goers, English language learners, and students of color, all of whom are statistically underrepresented in higher education, which is pretty much our district. So we're a good fit for an early college high school. But our early college high school is a CTE early college high school. It's one of the first 2 in the state. So we're groundbreaking with that. It is growing, but we were one of the first 2. And so CTE stands for Career and Technical Education. And our focus is on Associates of Technology or certifications. We do not recruit the top students. It was real important that when we were discussing and building this, that we were not going to take the Val and Sal type kids from North Shore and Galena Park and steal them away. What we wanted to do is those kids were already being successful. We wanted an opportunity for sort of the next tier of students to be successful. And that doesn't mean we don't have top students. We have some kids who choose to do that, but the kids we're really recruiting are the kids who are probably in the top half of their class. They're definitely well-prepared young students who are motivated. They're just not what we would have thought of as that top 10% type of kid. A lot of times because those kids are involved in extra things like sports and fine arts, and early college high school doesn't have that. So they do have to have a drive to succeed. So there's some labor market myths that we reviewed when we talked about this, and not everyone needs a 4-year degree to be successful, and many of you know that, and we make sure our students and parents know that. And in reality, only 25% of the technical jobs out there require a 4-year degree, and of the people who earn a 4-year degree, only 57% of them use that 4-year degree. There's really a demand for women in our technical jobs. If we have a female in the technical jobs, whether they are at the home campus in a CAPE program or at the early college high school, they can name their job. And this is a national statistic. Out of every 20 ninth graders, 4 will earn a 4-year degree at a college, and only 2 of them will work in that field. So we have to provide quality education outside of just getting kids ready for a 4-year university. So what are the benefits to the students for our early college high school? They get to graduate with a high school diploma, and they have the opportunity, and we'll talk more about that, to earn an Associate of Applied Science or a certifications. They have the choice to continue their education or enter their workforce upon graduation, and we have kids who do both. Some students use their certification to actually help them earn money to pay for future college. They may know they weren't going to get that full ride, but here's a chance where I can make more than if I worked at McDonald's or Papacitos, and I can pay for college. They're part of a smaller school. Some of our students like the idea that they're not at the big North Shore Galena Park High School, and everything is free to them. I tell them I don't pay for parking tickets and I don't pay for them to retake the class, but everything else with their dual credit, supplies, textbooks, it's all paid for. What are the benefits for Galena Park I.S.D? Why did the board a few years back ask us to do this? Well, we don't have to pay for the facilities or the utilities at San Jack. This program is housed at San Jack. It's a great partnership, and our North Shore schools and Galena Park schools were getting crowded. So here's a way to get some of those kids off that campus. It also gives you an opportunity to name a school. So right now it is the Cape Early College High School, but if you ever choose to name that after someone, that gives you that opportunity. But our goal when we first met with you was to increase our students graduating college ready with certifications or advanced courses. So here is our district growth. So 2019 was the first graduating class. The results for the class of 2020, remember that's on that TAPR report that's always lagging. I think Ms. Moore went over that with you this past December or January. We won't get that till the end of November. So we really only have the first graduating class of 2019 to give you the exact results on. But this is district growth. As a district college ready grads, you can see we were 27.7% in 2017. We were up to 46% in 2019. Taking an advanced course anytime between 9th through 12th grade, or any kid during 9th through 12th grade, went from 42.9 to 50.4. Earning certifications went from 4.3 to 23.8. And having dual credit when you graduate. So I'm a senior and I have dual credit on my transcript, went from 11.6 to 26.2. So you can see it helped us reach our goals. So what programs are available for students? Because we're a Cape Early College High School, we focused on healthcare, technical, and service industries. So the Associate of Applied Sciences are engineering, design, graphics, business management, child development, health information management, paralegal, and then cosmetology will be new for next year's freshmen. That's an opportunity. The Certificate of Technology programs are these listed. Now, these are not available as an associate's at San Jack. If they were, we would offer that. So these are not available. They're except for pharmacy tech, but pharmacy tech, you can't do some of the requirements until you're 18 or older. So our kids they don't turn 18 early enough to take those classes to earn the associate. So they can earn their certificate, and then when they finish with us, then they're just a few classes away from getting that associate. But you can't go earn an associate of technology in HVAC. We offer everything HVAC allows. For kids who do not finish the program they're in, maybe they changed their mind. You know how many of you might have changed your major when you went off to college? We do offer a one-year program for kids who maybe were getting into their college classes later on. So we have pipe fitting and childcare. That is what's called an occupational certificate. It's different from a level 1 or level 2 certificate you hear from the college. They do not consider this part of their diploma, their graduation. So if the kids who earned those other programs are part of San Jack's graduation, these kids unfortunately aren't, but they do graduate with an occupational certificate and can go to work, or they can use that to pay for their future college. So what are the early college high school requirements? We have to have a small 9th grade class. We have increased it from 125 to 150. Students are not able to enroll after 10th grade. So we always take a waiting list, because some kids change their mind. Some kids' parents made them sign up and then they weren't interested in it. And some kids tried out and maybe that's not for them. Maybe they miss choir, or their friends, or whatever it is. And some kids are not successful on a college campus and they need to go back. So during their 9th grade year and the beginning of 10th grade year, we can take kids off the waiting list and add them in. We cannot take kids off the waiting list in 11th or 12th grade. It's too late to be successful in their program. Again, everything is paid for by the district, but students do not have to be Texas Success Initiative Assessment, that TSIA exempt to enter the program. So I enroll at the end of 8th grade, and it's our job to try to get them college ready. But remember, we're not taking the cream of the crop kids. So that becomes part of the challenge, and we provide them the tutoring to help them become college ready, but they still have to be college ready to take the college classes. And the enrollment of the early college high school is supposed to mirror the district. So we select students in 8th grade, they apply. They cannot have any drug-related discipline. They have to have good attendance. They have to pass the reading star because, again, they're going to be taking college classes. They need to have a good reading priority. First priority is students who live in the district. So I know we have employees who bring their kids or other transfers, but we give first priority all the time to the kids who currently live in the district, and that's all we've ever put in the program. And with that, we use a lottery. So we actually have the ping pong balls and everything, and we record it. The 8th graders get to watch it, and we select the kids for the early college high school. So the traits of an ideal early college high school student is they got to be willing to work hard, because these classes will be a challenge for them. They have to be drug-free, eager and willing to learn, willing to give up the traditional high school experience. So we're very honest. This isn't for everyone, but one of the things I love about Galena Park is we provide options for our students and families, and this is an option that some people thrive in. They need good communication skills, and they need to be on time. You can't be late to those college classes. So who are we? They're 87.7% Hispanic, 7.6% African American, 2.7% white, which leaves you 2% of other. LEP is 15.5%, 2% SPED, 82.4% economically disadvantaged, and 54.7% at risk. So very close to what our district looks like. Here are our current enrollment numbers, and you can see it sort of decreases as you get older up. We also have some early graduates sometimes. So sometimes kids jump and graduate in 3 years, but this is our enrollment now. So the class of 2020, we don't have the official stats on them on that tapper, but we can tell you about them. So there were 113 graduates last year. 17 of them earned an associate's degree. 43 of them earned a certificate of technology, and that does not include the kids who earned an associate. So everybody who earned an associate also earned a certificate of technology, but this is 43 kids who only earned a certificate. They didn't earn an associate. We had 15 kids earn one of those occupational certificates. Remember, I told you that doesn't count with their graduation, but it's that 1-year program. And then all 38 other kids, they did graduate with college hours. Some of them graduated with 24 college hours. They just didn't reach enough hours to earn their certificate or earn their associate degree. But they're much further along than if they had stayed at North Shore or Galena Park, maybe only taken a few dual credit classes before they graduated. So it's an advantage to them and their parents. So total, last year's graduating class earned 4,505 college hours. The average college hours by the kids in that class was 38.45. The average college hours for students receiving their credentials is 49.5. So the associate degrees do require about 60 hours, but most of those certifications of technology require about 45 hours. So why did some not receive their credential? Some of them could not satisfy their TSIA requirement for college English or college math. So they still have to pass that test before they can do college math or college English. Some of them end up passing that test in their senior year. So they did not get ready to take the college math class now. They can take it the next year, but they needed all 4 years of high school math to prep them for that. We have a few that are placed on suspension by San Jack. Maybe they didn't have the grades and they fell behind. We had kids who lost interest in their program. They really thought they wanted to be in drafting or HVAC, and then they changed their mind. So they switched their major or they switched their degree. So they still have hours towards their program. They're just not caught up with their peers. And then just a reminder, last year we did have that pandemic. So it did hurt our graduating class some, finishing up some of those last bit of classes, because there's 8-week classes at the college. And so some of our kids didn't get enrolled in those last 8-week classes that were hands-on. They weren't able to take them. Sometimes the program is dropped by San Jack, or they put a limit on us. So we thought we had 18 kids interested, but it's such a popular program. They come back and say, Galena Park I.S.D, you only get 10 kids, not 18 in the program, or other requirements change. So sometimes because of that, kids have to change their program. Every once in a while, you'll see that we do have some kids who earn an associate's, that's an academic associate's, and maybe they just decided that this Kate path is not for them, and we allow them to do it, but that's not the kid we recruit. Every kid that we recruit has to say what program they're interested in. So our current students that are going to be graduating just shortly, we're expecting 16 associates of applied science and 6 associates of art. So again, 6 that transferred over to the academic. 44 kids with a certificate of technology, 15 kids with an occupational certificate. We're looking at 3 or more early grads. We have a couple who are still trying to decide, do they want to come back and let us pay for college, what would be their senior year in high school, or do they want to go ahead and be considered an early grad? But all the students will graduate as college ready, and all of them will graduate with college hours. Some of the achievements I want to let you know is we consistently meet all outcome-based measures that are required by TEA for access and achievement. We got an A in 2019 state accountability. 100% of the students have graduated. They've had 0 dropouts since they've started, 0 dropouts. The class of 2019, all but 1 student was fully college and career military ready. And of course, again, I told you the class of 2020 was 100% college and career ready, and so will the class of 2021. So I want to tell you a few success stories. From the class of 2019, we have Vanessa, who was recently accepted into the nursing school at the University of North Carolina. So she's finished up her prereqs for nursing, and she's into their nursing. We have Anaya Garcia, who graduated with the child care certificate and is now an assistant manager, has had 2 different promotions to be an assistant manager at the Kids Are Kids in Atascocita. So we're proud of Anaya. And then Luis Garcia and Omar both work for our transportation department. There they are. So we've hired our own. We got them trained, and they're working for us. Success stories from last year. Our valedictorian is now at Notre Dame and still has a 4.0 in engineering and a minor in business. And Consuelo received her certificate in medical assisting, passed her nationals medical assisting certification, and works at Southwest Dermatology in the Baytown area. So we do have, and these are just samples. All of our kids have just great success stories. We do have some challenges. Students still have to pass that test to be considered college ready, so they can take those academic dual credit classes. Students can change their mind on their degree plan, which if you're a parent of a college going kid, you may experience that yourself. And then we don't get to pick the college professor. So we have no choice in that. And of course, some of those professors are better with young kids than others. They did not go to education classes like we did. They don't necessarily know how to teach young kids. And so again, some of them are just outstanding, and some of them we have a few challenges with. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Layler, how long is the contract between Galena Park and St. Jack?
I believe 2 years ago, we did a 5-year MOU with them. That's a memorandum of understanding. And we update it about every 4 years or so. That way we don't have to take it back to the board every year.
So what
unless
occurs?
there's a new requirement.
Yeah, okay. What occurs if St. Jack does not want to renew?
Well, we can always send our kids to the college. What I guess would occur is that we would not have a place on their facilities, but they've actually built some new additional classrooms, and they're giving us more for next year than we've ever had before. They're totally giving us our own hallway. So I believe for the North Campus, Galena Park I.S.D. pays for about 1/3 of their enrollment, 1/4 of their enrollment, somewhere in there. So we're a big partner. I don't think they're going to do that to us, but we can always send our kids to any place to get these courses. It's just a benefit to have them on that campus.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's say a student starts the early college program for the 9th grade and then decides this is not for him, and he does it, say, within the first 6 weeks. Do we go back and replace with another student, or that's it? He's gone?
No, we replace it semester time because you can't start a college class in the middle of a semester usually. So if the kids start the program, and we have some kids who change their mind right at the last moment, not many, but a few, but we try to start with the full class in August. And then we'll have a few at Christmas time who go back, and we'll pull kids off our waiting list. And then we'll have kids who are going back. Like we already know a few that are going to be going back at the end of this year as freshmen. So we've already reached out to the people who are on the waiting list now that we'll be able to start before their sophomore year. So there's 2 more chances to get in if I don't start with my regular class at the beginning.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a couple questions.
Yes, ma'am.
When do they take the TSI test? At what
We take
grade?
the TSIA test all the time. So we actually give it to our 8th graders through our college and career readiness class if they have passed the pre-test for it. So there's a pre-test online. If they're showing that they're going to do well, we give that to 8th graders. But then all students who are selected for the lottery for early college high school are required to take it either in May or June. So we have to have a starting test for them. Again, it doesn't hurt them if they fail that. They're still in the program. And there's a couple things that we have an agreement that they can take, like they can take their college fine arts class, music appreciation or art appreciation, without that class. So there's a couple classes we can get them in while we're working for them to retake it. And we offer retest on the TSIA 3 to 4 times a year.
Okay, perfect. Are there any prep courses that they can take to help them pass the test?
We build it, instead of it being this separate course, we build it into our curriculum for our English and our math classes. And then they have a unique schedule because they follow the college schedule. Most of the classes are Monday through Thursday. So their bell schedule is long on Monday through Thursday till 4. And then on Friday, it's a half day. And on Friday, that's where we build in a lot of TSIA and then EOC tutorials.
Okay, and then the certificates that they can't earn, such as the HVAC and
Yes, ma'am.
a couple of them. Are there any in the future? Do you feel like we'd be able to offer those certifications?
Okay, so you're talking about this
Yes.
slide that I have.
Is it because of the
So-
age? Is that what you said?
Okay, so it's only pharmacy tech that it's the age.
Okay.
So the whole universe of San Jac College, they don't offer an associates with diesel tech. So we
Okay.
offer everything San Jac offers. It's only, and we learned that the first couple of years the hard way. There's only a couple of things in the medical field that they're not allowed to do because of insurance till they're 18, that we cannot fully offer everything. So we get them as much as far as they can. And in fact, if you had a November birthday and my birthday is a June birthday, you might get to take 1 or 2 more classes than me because you'll turn 18 before me.
Okay,
So
but
we
they can
take-
still take classes if they're interested in these fields.
Oh, absolutely. So we
Okay.
have kids, so they're getting what's called a level 1 or a level 2 pharmacy tech certificate. They
Mhm.
just may not be getting the associates with that.
I see.
Or the
Okay.
medical assistant. So all of these certificates of technology, they can complete that program. They can graduate from San Jac at San Jac's graduation with that certificate of technology.
I
So
see. So it's
You'll hear San Jac terms, level 1 certificate, level 2 certificate, and associates.
I see. So
And-
it's associate versus just a certificate of technology.
Correct.
Okay.
So
perfect.
let's talk about the engineering design graphics. There is an associate for that. Some kids just did not get the math part for TSIA. So they may not earn the associate. They'll tell you as a freshman or sophomore, I'm in the engineering design program, and we're putting them in it, and we're giving them all the courses we can, but we can't give them the college math class until they pass that TSIA math. And so if I don't pass that till I am a senior, then I may only graduate with a certificate as opposed to an associate's. But
Okay.
I could be 1 or 2 classes away, and then once I graduate from high school, I can take those other courses and finish up.
Okay. And lastly, I just wanted to congratulate because the certificate growth that you showed from 4.3% to 23.8% is tremendous growth. So congratulations to the program.
Well, thank you. We have a great team. This is certificates earned both at North Shore, Galena Park, and Early College High School. And we've got a great team working. Thank you. All right, I will give this PowerPoint to Elizabeth, and she'll be able to send this out to y'all. So if you have further questions, you can email me, and I'll be glad to get the answer to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. There being no other business before the board at this time, the meeting is adjourned. It is 6:06 p.m. The Board of Trustees of Galena Park Independent School District is now convened on a regular meeting on Monday, May 10th, 2021, via video conference. The time is 6:07 p.m. I want to welcome the viewers to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As Galena Park I.S.D. Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policies for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members receive information related to items on today's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to hear the matter discussed. Thank you for taking the time to join us today and for your interest in Galena Park Independent School District.
At this time, I will call roll. When your name is called, please answer with here or present. Ramon Garza, President.
Present.
Jeff Miller, Vice President.
Here.
Adrian Stevens, Secretary.
Here.
Trustees, Wanda Heath Johnson,
Present.
Noe Esparza,
Present.
Norma Hernandez,
Present.
and Herbert Alexander Sanchez.
Present.
Also joining us through video conference and will respond with here or present or Sharonda Johnson, Executive Director for School and Community Relations.
Here.
Brishan Thompson, Coordinator for School and Community Relations. Michelle Mickey Morris, Partner with Rogers, Morris and Grover LLP. Harold Sonny Fletcher III, Senior Director for Facility Planning and Construction.
Present.
Anna Salinas, Administrative Assistant to the Superintendent's Office.
Here.
Brian Clements, Executive Director for Security, Cybersecurity, Chief of Police, and Interim Director for Technology.
Present.
Elizabeth Valdez, Executive Assistant for Trustee and Superintendent.
Here.
Cabinet members, Sonia George,
Here.
Dr. Juan Giacomo,
Here.
Later,
Here.
Terry Ford,
Here.
Dr. Michelle Epps,
Here.
Tina Edgar,
Here.
Dr. David Harris,
Present.
Mike Kay,
Present.
Lonnie Lloyd,
Present.
and I'm Dr. John Moore, Superintendent of Schools, also here. Staff members will practice social distancing as required and outlined. We will use masks, hand sanitizers, disinfectants, etc., as recommended. I will now turn this meeting over to Ramon Garza, Board President.
Ms. Valdez, are there any citizen participation items for this evening?
We have no citizen participation items today.
Ms. Valdez, are there any public comment items for this evening?
Yes, we have public comment items.
Patrons who have duly registered for policy BED local may address the board regarding matters of concern, interest to the district, other than the character of any student, staff, or board member. I would like to remind the video conference audience that the comments of the speaker sent via online link reflect their own position or opinions. The board may not discuss or act upon any matter that is not listed under the action item portion of the agenda. Therefore, board members may not discuss the comments. Please understand that a lack of response from the board member does not indicate agreement or approval of the comments. Ms. Valdez, you may begin.
The following public comment was submitted by Nicole Guerin. If students have a dress code and have to purchase specific attire, then so should the teachers, and this would also help students identify teachers and staff of the school in case if there were any breaches at the school, then the students would easily be able to identify a teacher or staff member of the school.
Thank you, Ms. Guerin.
President Garza, there are no more items in this category.
Today's invocation will be presented by myself, and the pledges to the American Texas flag will be led by Noe Esparza. Please pray with me. Loving and gracious God, you are indeed the giver of all good gifts. And we thank you today for all your blessings, for the successful outcome of our school board meeting and all our end of year events, for all our staff members, both the teaching and support members. We ask that you bless them abundantly, and we continue to seek your wisdom, guidance, courage, and strength. Be with us in our deliberations and help us to be wise in the decisions we make for the good of all those who have placed their trust and confidence in our leadership. Give us insights to lead with integrity, that our decisions may reflect what is right and good. Keep us from short-sightedness and pettiness. Help us to make decisions that are the good of all, and guard us from blind self-interest. Dear Lord, grant us the humility to always seek your will in all that we do and say. All glory be yours, loving God, now and always. Amen.
Amen.
To the flag
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Let Texas flag
Texas flag,
pledge allegiance
pledge
to
allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We now move to this evening's special recognition portion of the agenda. Dr. Moore.
This evening, we have some special recognitions. I would like to congratulate everyone being recognized tonight. At this time, I will turn the floor over to Ms. Sharonda Johnson, Executive Director for School and Community Relations.
Good evening, and thank you, Dr. Moore. I am grateful to assist with this evening's portion of the meeting. We are excited to recognize quite a few individuals who have served our school community in outstanding ways. This evening's first recognition is Galena Park I.S.D's own transportation department, recently named one of the 100 Best Fleets in America. The 100 Best Fleets in America Award is one of the highest honors for industry and public education transportation fleets across North America. The program recognizes and rewards peak performing fleet operations in North America. Currently, in its 20th year, 100 Best Fleets identifies and encourages ever-increasing levels of performance improvement within the fleet industry. This is the 4th consecutive year GPISD Transportation has received this award. We are also one of only 3 school districts in the nation to receive this award. Our thanks and congratulations go out to the GPISD Transportation Department, led by Director of Transportation Kenneth Bush, for their dedication to and achievement of the highest performance standards. Our next group of GPISD employees to be recognized this evening is a very dedicated and deserving group of caring individuals who have helped our students, staff, and community immensely this school year and every other school year too. I'm talking about our school nurses and our administrative COVID-19 team, led by Assistant Superintendent for Student Support Services, Dr. Michelle Epps. This is a very fitting time to honor these individuals, as last week, May 3rd through 7th, was National School Nurses Week. Thank you, school nurses, medical assistants, GPISD Legacy Clinic nurses, and the administrative COVID-19 team. Thank you for working tirelessly this year to keep the entire GPISD school community safe and healthy. The next group of amazing GPISD employees we are recognizing this evening is the Galena Park I.S.D. Student Nutrition Department in honor of School Lunch Hero Day, which was May 7th. Led by Student Nutrition Director Mr. Brian Aubin, this hard-working group of ladies work tirelessly every day to provide nutritious meals and promote healthy habits for lifelong nutrition and fitness practices to every student of Galena Park I.S.D. Congratulations and many thanks to our Student Nutrition Department. Next, I am very pleased to shine our spotlight on 3 amazing GPISD high school students. First, we have Churchill Reagan Couch, a junior from Galena Park High School. The district recognizes Churchill this evening for developing the Galena Park and Jacinto City Help Center website. The website helps our community members to access providers of basic needs. This centralized website provides a one-stop online site for community members to access resources such as COVID-19 updates, mental health resources, virtual learning with GPISD academic resources, and social service resources in Galena Park and Jacinto City. Churchill is truly a great example to his peers and community. He noticed the need to help the community of Galena Park and Jacinto City and stepped in to fill the gap. He truly embodies the spirit of GPISD's rally cry. We are all in this together. Thank you, Churchill, for using your talents and helpful spirit to help others gain access to help they need. Lastly, I am excited to recognize 2 very talented students from North Shore Senior High School, seniors Osvaldo Castro and Matthew Stith. They recently participated in the 2020 Congressional App Challenge, and the app they created was selected as a winner, competing against 3,088 other apps submitted by students from across the nation. Osvaldo and Matthew created the COVID-19 app, a coronavirus game which spreads awareness about the dangers of COVID-19. Congratulations to Matthew and Osvaldo. What an awesome honor to win this nationwide contest. This concludes the recognition portion of this evening's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Any board member make a comment during this portion of the agenda without prior posting being required. Comment items may not pertain to the character of any student, staff, or board member. and may not be discussed or deliberated upon this time. Does anyone have a comment at this time?
Mr. President, I would like to congratulate Ms. Wanda Heath Johnson and Ms. Adrian Stevens for being reelected without opposition, and to say how glad I am they're still a part of this team.
Thank you, Jeff.
I second that, Jeff.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Thank you. I just want to say the students that are creating this wonderful technology, Churchill and Osvaldo and Matthew, that is tremendous. And it shows that GPISD is right up there with the technology required for the future. So I'm happy to say that they are part of Galena Park I.S.D.
Can I congratulate someone? I'd like to congratulate Churchill Couch. He did an amazing job, and I congratulate him with all my heart. I think that was fantastic.
Harold Sonny Fletcher III, Senior Director for Facilities Planning and Construction, will provide a 2016 bond program construction update.
Good evening, President Garza, Board, Dr. Moore and Cabinet. There we go. And I promise I set this so there we go. Of course, start with Galena Park High School. There in the picture on the left, last month when we updated, we didn't have the grading in quite such good shape. The drywall didn't have its primer on yet, so very happy to see the grading coming together and the drywall everything coming together, and we're starting our finishes there at the addition. That's going along very well. And then this, I did a before and after, something a little different. The picture on the left was last month's photo, and the picture on the right is this month's photo. So you see the carriers have gone in, obviously the ceramic tiles on the wall and the new ceramic tiles on the floor. So the restroom there in Administration Building will be back together here in the next week. So very excited to get that put back together. I don't have any idea, you don't have any idea how much construction affects people till you affect the restroom in the Administration Building, I'm telling you. And then of course our projects in design, Pyburn Elementary School, construction manager at risk has that out to bid, and all goes well. The June board meeting will have a guaranteed maximum price amendment for that. And then Galena Park High School, phase 2, 3 additions. We've got our advisory committee meeting with our board construction committee coming up here soon, and that project's moving along nicely. Very simple. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Sonny. I will entertain a motion to approve the renewal of property windstorm terrorism insurance for the period of June 1st, 2021 through June 1st, 2022 from McGriff Insurance Services, Inc. via National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance, NCPA, contract number 09-08 for the premium of $2,430,600 as presented.
I know Esparza move we approve the renewal of property windstorm terrorism insurance as presented.
I, Norma Hernandez, second the motion.
As I call your name, please state your name and indicate your vote by stating in favor, oppose, or abstain. Jeff Miller.
Jeff Miller, abstain.
Adrian Stevens. Wanda Johnson.
Wanda Johnson.
Ms. Stevens, you were muted. Can you please repeat that?
I, Adrian Stevens, abstain.
Wanda Johnson.
I, Wanda Johnson, in favor.
Noe Esparza.
Noe Esparza in favor.
Norma Hernandez.
Norma Hernandez in favor.
Herbert Sanchez.
Herbert Sanchez in favor.
Ramon Garza am in favor. The motion carries 5-0 with 2 abstentions. With respect to the general consent agenda, do we want to remove any items for a separate vote or take the agenda as is?
I, Norma Hernandez, move we approve the general consent agenda as presented.
Jeff Miller, second the motion.
A motion was made by Norma Hernandez and second by Jeff Miller. As I call your name, please state your name and indicate your vote by stating in favor, oppose, or abstain. Jeff Miller,
Jeff Miller in favor.
Adrian Stevens,
I, Adrian Stevens, in favor.
Wanda Johnson,
Wanda Johnson in favor.
Noe Esparza,
Noe Esparza in favor.
Norma Hernandez,
Norma Hernandez in favor.
Herbert Sanchez,
Herbert Sanchez in favor.
I, Ramon Garza, am in favor. The motion carries 7-0 with no abstentions. With respect to the construction consent agenda, do we want to remove any items for separate vote or take the agenda as is?
Jeff Miller, move we approve the construction consent agenda as presented.
I, Adrian Stevens, second the motion.
If the motion passes, I, Ramon Garza, authorize GPISD to utilize my electronic signature for these items. Ms. Stevens, do you authorize the use of electronic signature as well?
Yes.
A motion was made by Jeff Miller and second by Adrian. As I call your name, please state your name and indicate your vote by stating in favor, oppose, or abstain. Jeff Miller,
Jeff Miller in favor.
Adrian Stevens,
Adrian Stevens in favor.
Wanda Johnson,
Wanda Johnson in favor.
Noe Esparza,
Noe Esparza in favor.
Norma Hernandez,
Norma Hernandez in favor.
Herbert Sanchez.
Herbert Sanchez in favor.
I, Ramon Garza, am in favor. The motions carry 7-0 with no abstentions. With respect to the financial consent agenda, do we want to remove any items for separate vote or take the agenda as is?
I, Adrian Stevens, move we approve the financial consent agenda as presented.
And I, Wanda Johnson, second the motion.
As I call you, if the motion passes, I, Ramon Garza, authorize GPISD to utilize my signature for these items. Ms. Stevens, do you authorize the use of electronic signatures as well?
Yes, I do.
A motion was made by Adrian and second by Wanda. As I call your name, please state your name and indicate your vote by stating in favor, oppose, or abstain. Jeff Miller,
Jeff Miller in favor.
Adrian Stevens,
Adrian Stevens in favor.
Wanda Johnson,
Wanda Johnson in favor.
Noe Esparza,
Noe Esparza in favor.
Norma Hernandez,
Norma Hernandez in favor.
Herbert Sanchez.
Herbert Sanchez in favor.
I, Ramon Garza, am in favor. The motion carries 7-0 with no abstentions. Sonia George, Chief Financial Officer and Deputy Superintendent for Operational Support, presented 1, the comparative tax collection report for the period of September 1 through March 31st for fiscal year 2019 through 2020 and 2020 through 2021. 2, the emergency purchase authorized by resolution inclement weather. 3, the donation report for April 2021. 4, the 2006 bond program financial report as of March 31st, 2021. B, Elizabeth Layler, Deputy Superintendent for Educational Support and School Administration, presented 1, the Early Head Start Update Fund 205 expenditure report summary for March 2021. 2, the Early Head Start 2019 through 2020 annual report. 3, the Early Head Start 2020 through 2021 self-assessment and action plan. 4, the Early Head Start Policy Council meeting minutes from March 2021. An executive session of the board will now be held on matters contained in the notice for the meeting as authorized by sections 551 .001 through sections 551.084 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Opens Meetings Act. The time is 6:30 p.m. Staff, with the exception of Dr. Moore, Ms. Morris, Ms. George, Mr. McKay, and Ms. Valdez are dismissed from the boardroom at this time. All other staff joining us video conference will be placed on a Zoom waiting room. Staff who are live streaming the meeting, please stop the live stream video. Session is adjourned. The live streaming has begun again, and the board is now in open session. The time is 6:42 p.m. I will entertain a motion and the items covered in executive session. Is there a motion to approve the purchase of a 0.5334 acre tract of real property located at 1710 Parkside Drive, Galena Park, Texas, 77547, and authorize the superintendent to execute a contract and closing documents for 295 plus closing costs as presented?
I, Adrian Stevens, move we approve the purchase of a 0.5334 acre tract of real property in Galena Park, Texas, as presented.
I know Esparza, second the motion.
A motion was made by Adrian Stevens and second by Noe Esparza. As I call your name, please state your name and indicate your vote by stating in favor, oppose, or abstain. Jeff Miller.
Jeff Miller in favor.
Adrian Stevens.
Adrian Stevens in favor.
Wanda Johnson.
Wanda Johnson in favor.
Noe Esparza.
Noe Esparza in favor.
Norma Hernandez.
Norma Hernandez in favor.
Herbert Sanchez.
Herbert Sanchez in favor.
And I, Ramon Garza, am in favor. The motion carries 7-0 with no abstentions. Is there a motion to approve the proposed termination of Elizabeth Nettles' term contract as presented?
I, Norma Hernandez, move we approve the proposed termination of Elizabeth Nell's term contract as presented.
I, Jeff Miller, second the motion.
A motion was made by Norma Hernandez and second by Jeff Miller. As I call your name, please state your name and indicate your vote by stating in favor, oppose, or abstain. Jeff Miller.
Jeff Miller in favor.
Adrian Stevens.
Adrian Stevens in favor.
Wanda Johnson.
Wanda Johnson in favor.
Noe Esparza.
Noe Esparza in favor.
Norma Hernandez.
Norma Hernandez in favor.
Herbert Sanchez.
Herbert Sanchez in favor.
I, Ramon Garza, am in favor. The motion carries 7-0 with no abstentions. Is there a motion to approve the list of Chapter 21 probationary and term contracts recommendations beginning 2021 through 2022 as presented?
I, Noe Esparza, move we approve the list of Chapter 21 probationary and term contract recommendations as presented.
I, Wanda Johnson, second the motion.
A motion was made by Noe Esparza and second by Wanda Johnson. As I call your name, please state your name and indicate your vote by stating in favor, oppose, or abstain. Jeff Miller.
I, Jeff Miller in favor.
Adrian Stevens.
Adrian Stevens in favor.
Wanda Johnson.
Wanda Johnson in favor.
Noe Esparza.
Noe Esparza in favor.
Norma Hernandez.
Norma Hernandez in favor.
Herbert Sanchez.
Herbert Sanchez in favor.
I, Ramon Garza, am in favor. The motion is carried 7-0 with no abstention. Is there a motion to approve the list of non-Chapter 21 probationary and term contracts recommendations beginning 2021 through 2022 as presented?
I, Adrian Stevens, move we approve the list of non-Chapter 21 probationary and term contract recommendations as presented.
I, Wanda Johnson, second the motion.
A motion was made by Adrian Stevens and second by Wanda Johnson. As I call your name, please state your name and indicate your vote by stating in favor, oppose, or abstain. Jeff Miller.
I, Jeff Miller in favor.
Adrian Stevens.
Adrian Stevens in favor.
Wanda Johnson.
Wanda Johnson in favor.
Noe Esparza.
Noe Esparza in favor.
Norma Hernandez.
Norma Hernandez in favor.
Herbert Sanchez.
Herbert Sanchez in favor.
And I, Ramon Garza, am in favor. The motion carries 7-0 with no abstention. There being no other business before the board at this time, the meeting is adjourned. The time is 6:46 p.m.